This is a recovery compilation that I put together on Blog Talk Radio at my 28th year clean. And I'm 29 years clean now. It's, oh, January 2017. I'm still doing well. But the story breaks in where I was playing some music uh, and that was appropriate to my Vietnam tour. And so you'll understand that it just kind of cracks right in there. But I think it's the best that I've done and the most honest and the most detailed on recovery from the disease of addiction. So enjoy that, and I pray that it does help somebody. Effects of heroin and opium and all that stuff until you're out of a war zone and you come home. You come home. And I hesitated for 2 weeks. And there was a girl that I was looking forward to seeing. Sounded like she loved me, but I guess brotherly love and sisterly love, you get confused. But I stayed in California with my friends in San Francisco, and I noticed when I drank, I was getting a little rowdy and a little loud. And of course, I met some semi-rich people over there. They were rich, old women with no wrinkles, and they had a sauna in there. We stunk, and we had blackheads all over our faces, and it took me a couple of weeks. I stayed there, and I didn't want to leave my friends. And one of them got heroin shipped to him, about a baby food jar full. And so the few days before I left California, I was able to do some more heroin because my leg was starting to ache. I was starting to jones. I was starting to get sick, and the alcohol wasn't cutting it. And I came back on the plane and just about blacked out. I took some what they called California Reds and knocked myself out. I didn't want to fly. I didn't want to be in elevators. I didn't want to be in any public transportation. Long story. I just recently got over those fears and anxieties within a few years. And I'm 64 years old now, so it takes a while for some things to subside. And I got home and took the bus to Bellingham from Boston, and I got off the bus. No more public transportation. That's it. No one is taking me up in a helicopter or planes and props, and no one's doing that no more. No one's in charge of my life. I'm hitchhiking, okay? And that's what I did. And I hitchhiked about maybe 5 miles, 6 miles, and that was my way of coming back into like Pink Floyd's song, kicking around a piece of ground in your hometown, da da da, and that kind of thing. And then they had a party for me. My father built a room and a bar, and he punched out 2 kids the night I was home, and there was bloodshed. Oh boy! And the girl I thought was going to be there had something else going on. So I was very depressed. And my self-esteem wasn't that great. So that's a big part of the story. Self-esteem, depression, not thinking you're worth or as good as anyone, that kind of thing. And I started drinking and signing for cough syrup, codeine. You had to sign for it in the pharmacies back in 71, and that would at least simulate the nod, because I didn't want to use needles, and I knew that the heroin here was cut, was junk, and I'd already experienced all that crap before I left, and it was hard to find what we considered good dope. And by the way, I had a I had a sign on one of these goo cats, they call them, these rice hats, and it said "No hope without dope." I can't find the picture. It's very funny. Now that I look back and I've made it through the horrors of addiction. I mean, I came home with a brand new stereo shipped from Japan, the best stuff you could get, 6-way Sansui's, Pioneer, Akai, reel-to-reel, automatic reverse, all that analog, great sound. And, by the end of the year, I was selling it to my friends to get high. Buying weed, drinking, buying, THC. I love THC, mescaline, and that kind of stuff. I was in and out of work, and I was depressed, very depressed. And I'm at a party with some people in an apartment, just a couple of people, and they had girlfriends, and I didn't have one. So out of nowhere, I just smashed holes in the wall in their apartment, and the guy's going like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know, man." And I noticed I was getting violent, and I hadn't been real violent. I'd just been rowdy and rock and roll, screaming, and but after now, it was a different story, and the drugs were taking its toll, and I was told it was a progressive illness, and I went to my aunt's and hung around there in Burlington, Massachusetts, and partied there for a while and dated somebody I wasn't supposed to date, but I did anyway, and she liked me, and I dated another girl, I don't know, but I was extremely jealous and extremely insecure and all these stupid things, and everybody just cheats when they're young for some reason. They still do, and that always bothered me because I was loyal like a puppy, but my loyalty could have been misplaced because of my self-esteem issues and issues like that. I wasn't a complete person to be able to do what they call a searching and fearless moral inventory. I would never have been able to do that. And so needless to say, the 70s began to be a blackout for me. And I had a fight with this girl, tried to get her keys from her. She was with some guy at a bar. Next thing you know, I'm driving her car. She jumps in. We're going about 60 miles an hour in a 20, and bounced off a fence, hit a guy semi head on. He was already crippled. Thank God we didn't hurt him any worse, but he had a punch out on me, and my father had to take care of it. He didn't want to, he was going to have me done in, and life got really screwed up. And then I met my soon-to-be wife at one of the parties in Burlington at my cousin's, and she was insecure herself a little, and self-esteem was probably not all there either. So we were a great match. We were going to fix each other, I suppose, and it never did take place. But we had 4 kids, and I started to, I've always prayed to God, and I believe that Jesus is the Son of God, and I was brought up with him being crucified, and of course the way I looked at that was they killed him, right? And I'd be like, "You assholes, you killed Jesus, man," So I didn't have the faith that some of the so-called Christians have. I don't know if that's the true word for it, but I did pray, and I needed help many, many times. And you head-on collisions, cars being left in 3 towns away, and I'm home barefooted. Where's my car, right? So, alcohol was doing me in, but I was using it to get away from all the other stuff. And then later I'd find cocaine. But around 1976, I was sitting in a room up in an apartment. My wife is pretty. I have 4 beautiful children. Nothing could be better. Nothing. And I'm in the other room looking at my photo albums, wishing I was back in now. I'm back with my friends. And I've done that ever since. I really have. And I'm okay with it today. I understand it. And the guy's preaching about Jesus on TV, but all I ever heard him say was, you know, Jesus loves you. He really does. And I was in tears on my knees. And I felt a little burden lift that morning. And I threw away all my record albums. No one ever told me. I never went to some church. And a few weeks later, I had a hangover. I'm still drinking. And I had, in the interim, I had a friend bring me to a church in Rentham area. And they gave me a Bible, King James, and I started reading and learning a little bit anyway. And my Lord flooded me out with joy unspeakable, full of glory, right in front of my friend Chuck, who I grew up with, and right in front of him. And it blew me away. And God called me. I'm like, wow, you know. And people looking at me like, yeah, well, God couldn't possibly call you. You know, what does one look like, right? Okay, so, okay. Maybe you guys are right, but that ain't what I have sensed within my being. And here I am, just getting wasted. And I'm actually maintaining. I was trying to quit from 1976 on. And I couldn't relate to the Christians at church and them people. They were too stiff. And I found music. Chuck Girard.
I'd say you're different now, and yes, your life has changed. Something surely different, your whole thinking's rearranged. But I just can't accept you say you owe it all to something supernatural. I used to know you when you go from bar to bar, looking for a thrill with some potential movie star, to take her home with you and try to get it on. But now you tell me that this type of life is gone. But I just can't accept you say you owe it all to something supernatural. I get a feeling that you're really on the level, but I just cannot believe that it could happen to you. This talk of Jesus sounds so soft and sentimental, and I just cannot believe that it's really, really true. But yet I see that you no longer are a person. You don't read Playboy, and you shun the liquor store. And though you're still my friend, I don't know how to treat you. In many ways, you're just no fun anymore. But I just can't accept you say you owe it all apprehension. Still I'm beginning to feel the pull of something supernatural.
Chuck Girard. That's my first cassette of real Jesus people from a Jesus people movement in the 60s. And they hit the streets and brought a great revival. And I became part of that by listening to all this music. I have a lot of it now. And those people would talk to me, even while I was drinking and crying and wishing I could do better for God because I loved them and I loved the way he made me feel, and I knew that he loved me, and I felt him contact me, and nobody believed me, but, you know, I know a lot about different religions and cults and all them things, and I had to fight them, and it was hard, and I'd try to quit using from 1976 on, and that's when all hell continued to break loose. It was shortly after I had a head-on collision around October. And now I'm soul searching. I even gave a 63 Cadillac away, and all I had to do was change the fender. But we hit the guy head on. We didn't hurt him. And I was in jail, and I woke up yelling at the cops, you know, they're from the devil screaming, right? And Frank and cops are like looking at me like, man, this kid's gone. And then I got out of jail 4 hours later, and I'd argue with my wife and steal the money back that I gave her from factory work and go back uptown to drink and to get rid of the hangover I had. Because I was in the afternoon. I mean, I was in the afternoon. It was like noontime. We were trying to cop money, and you know how it is. We were hustling and bustling, going from bar to bar, people to people, looking for money. And a bunch of us would, work hard to get high together. And it was pretty screwed up. And, well, after that head collision, I went back to this church, which was very stiff. But the pastor was very nice, and he used to visit me all the time. And told me I was child of the king, acting like a pauper. And never said I had to give anything up. So I did not hear about the disease of addiction until maybe around 1980, 81. That's when I shot a needle for the first time. I used a needle for one night with a friend that was shooting cocaine because I noticed the cocaine made my heart go too fast, but if you did a little bit, then it would be, you could drink and stay up and talk and be stupid. And I shot dope, and I am a carrier of hepatitis B. And I only used the needle once. And that was in 1980. And 1981, I'm back to church. I'm in and out. And I can't get fellowship. And that's what I desperately needed. And I wasn't close to people because I was a Vietnam vet. I was mean to my wife. I had shame. I had guilt. Remorse. Kid got killed with one of my rifles back in 1967, 68. I went to Nam with that on my mind. Never even told anybody. Yeah. Never told them what happened to me in Vietnam. Never told anybody anything. And people will call me the life of the party. Freaking life of the party. And I still am kind of a life of the party because there's a little bit of Gehenna resting down there somewhere in my butt, and it's just the way I am. Anyway, I'd be at work, and somebody from the Alcoholics Anonymous program was working there, and he would come to me and say, "Look, why don't you come to the program, Charlie? You know, I know you're trying to quit, and you keep ending up in rehab and stuff like that." And I said, "Nah, I'm good, man. You know, I ain't going there, man." I didn't know what it was. I thought, it can't be an alcoholic because I'm not on the street. I can't be a real drug addict because I only use a needle once. So, I was thinking in terms of, other people are worse than me, man. But I was as bad as it could get. and those pictures are on my other computer. I just redid the one that I'm using for Blog Talk Radio, so you're not gonna see all the photographs of me either puffed up or so skinny it's pathetic. I went through absolute hell, and I don't tell you everything. I stayed there for one-on-one when I'm dealing with somebody, talking with somebody. And I have been everywhere, and I've been molested. Everybody's been molested. Okay, we'll get over it. And but some people, you got to help them out with that. They don't know how to work through that. And anyway, I moved up north to New Hampshire, and that's a story in itself. And it wasn't my idea. I didn't want to live out in the woods, but I like going up there. And I was clean after rehab for about maybe 3 or 4 months, and I think my van broke down a couple times, and I was living in a 1961 van with my 4 kids up in the mountains, and it was starting to snow in September, and I kept blowing that transmission, that little transmission, and it was a 1960 Econoline with the pop-up, and it was cute, and that was my excuse. Somebody passed me a beer, and that was it. I drank for 9 months and just smoked pot. And I was like a guy that was doing Jack Daniels and very mean, and was constantly getting arrested up there in them small towns. And then I flipped out on my wife one night and ended up in jail, kicked out of the house. And I got out of the jail, and I realized that I was wrong. I had sinned, definitely. And I apologized to God. I called on Christ, and I said, Lord, I've been trying all these years, studying all these years, and I'm not nothing. And forgive me and show me how to stop this using. And because I'm kicked out of the house, and I've got people from Narcotics Anonymous asking me to go there, but there wasn't very many Narcotics Anonymous meetings in the northern part of New Hampshire. I was up around Littleton area, Lisbon, and then we got a house in Woodsville area. And I decided to go to the program that day after I got out of jail. I drank a half can of beer about 4 in the afternoon, and I've been clean ever since. 28 years. And I got clean in a tent 20 feet from the house I partied in with all the new friends that I made. I got clean. I wrote in my Bible, God forgive me. Give me the balance I need in my life. Help me to stay sober, clean. I didn't know what to call it. Addict is an addict. And I finally made it to an AA meeting. And they couldn't handle the way I talk and who I was. But some of them would put me aside, and younger guys and big, tall guys. And they would let me know that even though I was crazy, they weren't making fun of me when they were laughing. They were understanding me. And I didn't know that. I was going swearing at them and everything, And they helped me. And that's what I lacked. And this pastor had told me that, my friend pastor, the only man I ever let in my life to help me. And he told me that years before that I needed fellowship. And I didn't have it. But AA provided it. And I learned that AA was... those guys were like apostles to me, Bill Wilson and Bob Smith. And I have since gone to Bill's house, and I've been to Bob's boyhood home for meetings. And I helped start the first Narcotics Anonymous meetings up there. So I'm not representing Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, but they come highly recommended by me. I don't really care for the higher power thing because I know God. And I met people that have been clean as long as I am, and they don't know God's name, okay? And I thought by now these people I do. I mean, isn't that what they were trying to teach us? No. And So actually doing this tonight, the way I'm doing it is I'm not able to do that at a meeting. So I'm kind of spending my 28th year anniversary by myself with my 3 cats, and haven't had a phone call all day, and that's the way it is. I got very few friends, and I don't know if it's because I'm an asshole. I don't think so. But, they have a hard time dealing with my mind. And but the Lord Jesus is my Son of the Most High. He's my God. And the Most High calls him God in Hebrews. And I stay there. And I take what that program has to offer, and I utilize it. And I don't believe in the, a Christian, quote unquote, type of meeting. I think just the open forum meeting is okay for everybody. And I got a lot of people to thank for hanging in there with me. I haven't used, and maybe once or twice I felt like it. I got a divorce in the midst of maybe my 3rd year clean, and that's a whole story in itself. A lot of depression, lost weight again, post-traumatic stress issues came out at college. I went to college up in Linden State, Vermont, so I have a degree in psychology and music, and I can't read a note. And I've always been well-liked. People at the bar just love my company, so they get me high. I really don't need any money. All I got to do is go there. And at the present time, I'm a member of a church, and is a Baptist church with, they believe, they are not Protestants. They are not Protestants. They don't have anything to do with that. And they're just Jesus people. And I said, as long as that's all it means, okay. Because you're not going to make a bastard out of me. So anyway, I have a lot of fun with them. And, it took me years to get to that point because I was so resentful to so many people and the whole American society, for crying out loud. And, I get them resentments out in funny ways. Like I went on my first parade on a motorcycle as a Vietnam vet, and I brought a plastic BB gun, which is a replica of an M16, and I mounted it on my handlebars. Meanwhile, we just had the Boston Marathon thing happen 2 years ago, so I've got federal agents following me, and I got a camera on my bike just to hear my pipes, and it's on YouTube, busted. There's another one on there, off to the parade, and you can see it on there. And I'm a gentleman to the cops, and I realized that when I get in there, even though they saw the orange tip, a dead giveaway, and it was double strapped, you couldn't get it off, riding a motorcycle. So, I wasn't freaked out, but I was proud to represent the people that weren't represented. The American flag was in the rear, and the Australian flag, the Montagnard, and the Arvin, and the South Korean flag was on my bike. And it's not a Harley, it's a Yamaha 650 Special 2, and it really is special. It's a non-bobber. It's very cool. And God is good to me, and I don't have a wife, I don't have a woman. I've been through 12 of them after I got divorced in 92, and I think I had about enough with that. I do have beautiful women in my life here and there, and I enjoy their company and their husbands. I'm not coveting, and I make jokes with them, and I tell the husbands straight out, and I thank you very much for letting me borrow your wife, and people are pretty cool at my church. And I'm very grateful to be a part of that. And so those programs offer those 12 steps and that fellowship, and that's the key. And I've got a recording studio right here and all kinds of stuff. So this is a pretty exciting life that I live, although I do live it alone. And there are people that misunderstand me from time to time. They make up their own gods, and hey, you can do whatever you want, but if I know you and I love you, somehow I've got to get you awake to the true God. There's no getting out of that, and that's not a programming from a church or anything. That's in my heart from the day that I was drinking and working on a hangover, and God came into my. I don't know if he came in or he just moved within me, because I always believed, and he's with those who believe. He's not inside everybody. And Isaiah said that the heart of man is desperately wicked and evil above all else. And I don't think you have to be a soldier to realize that. But a lot of people just don't realize that. And there's the dark side to us, and the atheist will never know that dark side because there's no light to bring about those shadows. And Petra's song, where there's a shadow, there's a light. And it's a shame. And I love people. I enjoy them. Some of them don't want to tolerate my beliefs and my mind. And I find their minds pretty irritating at times myself, and it doesn't mean I hate them. I don't like your mind, But I try to have a good time with people and try to remain comical. We've been through enough. You earn your comedy. You earn it. You do, and. Some of you know I didn't share everything, but you can fill in the gaps. I once was lost, and now I'm found. And those recovery programs are very helpful. And all the people in the rehab, sometimes it isn't just about money. Sometimes there's an individual in there that touches you, and people come along and touches just you. And other people might think they suck, and God sent them just for you. And I don't know if I'm for anybody out there. I'm not. I don't have that kind of a mindset. I'm just celebrating 28 years clean time, alone, and I'd like to be doing something else, but like I say. My friends weren't available. I hadn't received a phone call. I don't know what's going on in their lives. Some of them you have to just leave them be, and they call you when they are ready. Some of them you need to call, and they're glad you called. So, it's a tough call. It's rough being a human sometimes, and but I'm very grateful to be clean and to be able to share a little bit of the story with you. I went a little over the 90 minutes, so I'll probably make it a 2-hour show and then just cut it short just to get these recordings uploaded onto Blog Talk Radio. And I'm very grateful for Blog Talk Radio. I don't abuse it. You very rarely hear me on here. I have a few shows archived. I pay for it, and I can do 2-hour shows every day. I don't see a person like me doing that. I'm just somebody that you should run into once in a while. I think that it's almost irritating to be around someone like me, even though I like myself, And sometimes I think that, I'll point at somebody in a meeting that's having a hard time, and I'll tell them, I am for you, dude. Get over my house. Here's my number. Call me anytime, night or day. I will drop what I'm doing, and I'll be of help. You just lost a friend, Phyllis. She cut her wrists. She went into the sex realm, the drugs again, and they killed her. And she literally exploded inside. I was the only one at the funeral besides her ex-husband and her 2 kids. That was sad. It angered me that others hadn't thought about her that way, but she was put in my life, and I guess, you have to work this stuff out, and that stuff happens. And I make music, but I'm not out there with it. I make laments for people who have passed, and I'm glad to be able to do that. Some people don't understand that. I don't care what they do. I do nonverbal laments on my guitar. They can understand those feelings. They cannot handle my words. I would never have been able to share the Lord like I have with you at a meeting quite the way I want to, because you'll be looking at people with question marks on their heads, and they're frowning, fidgeting, and people are pointing to their watch saying, you're going over, you're going over. I'm like, I'm not in the mood for your pressure, okay? I pay for Blog Talk Radio, and I share my story, and it includes my God, and because he's the one that led these people to me, and led me to those meetings, and then showed me what to take from them meetings that the other believers weren't able to supply me with. Now, in these days, 2014, there are churches with rehabs right in them, and rehabilitation and prayer and all that. And I don't think that they should mess with Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous in any way. Just leave people alone. Leave them alone, and because you can't get help in there. I like to mention the Lord Jesus Christ and what he's done for me, and he's given his life for me, and he rose from the dead, and I believe it. And I don't deserve the blessing from him that I have. I can see that there's pieces of me that are not character defects. No, it is in myself only. This is a sin nature I'm dealing with. And the disease of addiction for me is a demon. It has a voice that speaks the same to everyone. The same voice, the same things, over and over. Thousands of people. I'm 10,206 days clean. Do I know what I'm talking about after 10,206 days clean? You be the judge. Thank you for letting me share my testimony with you. I didn't get to all the music. I kind of muffed it up because I went upside down. Because I put the songs on there, just look at it, and I do stuff last minute, and I say, well, usually I organize it, but I didn't know where I would be, so it's probably about 7 songs I did not play for you. I like playing music for people. I think it speaks to the heart better than someone like myself just, professing. There's a built-in rebellion in us, and Bill and Bob covers that. So what NA doesn't cover, if you read, like Pass It On and those early books from AA, you'll read about that rebellion. And you'll read about, you put down drugs and then you pick up sex, you buy things, and disease of addiction I go along with. That concept was helpful because I didn't need to think that I was a bad person, but I was. And I'm not that good now. And it's not that I'm doing so much wrong. It's just that I know what I'm made of. And that's between me and my God. So I'm not deceived at what we are as humans. And I keep a close watch in the world and see where it's going and what it's doing. I'm not always just concerned about other addicts. I'm concerned about everything, about everybody. And I don't like everybody, but I love them, which means that I don't do them any harm. And even if they're my enemies and they've made themselves my enemies, I don't do them any harm. And the resentment's only going to eat me up. So, eventually that has to go. And they come and go. So, we're living life on its own terms, they say. And I'm very grateful for the people in Shelbyville. They are quite a refreshment for me, a place of rest from the world. I know they perfectly understand God, who He is, what He's about, and what He'd like to see in us. And I don't have to wrestle with them about that. And some of the folks at meetings, you have to, and I don't want to. I shy away from it, and there's no debates. People would say black and white one way, and there ain't no gray area. I don't care what they do. I'm not concerned with what they do. None of them have been to war. None of them know what it's like to be at a fireworks and say, this is boring. They don't know a lot of how I feel, why I feel that way. And I'm not saying I'm unique, but I meet the people from the Iraqi War, from Afghanistan War, Desert Storm, some Vietnam vets, and I'm telling you, we get a view of the world firsthand, and feelings that go along with that you can't convey to other people. I don't care how many movies they've seen about stuff and how many documentaries. You either watch a documentary or you are a documentary. So anyway, they call me the great I am, right? I don't care what they do. It took years for me to accept myself, and I'm precious. I had to see myself that way, and as any child. And the people out there, you're all precious, even though some of you suck, and you need to get your hearts right with God. And that includes getting rid of the drinking and drugging. I mean, it's medication, and it goes bad. It's an experiment. The experiment turns on you. And I don't want to see you die. I don't want to see you cut your wrist. But you could get clean and sober and still, like the Lord said, what does it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Mood swings.